And that's not okay. That's not fair. That's making it so our lives are focused on him.
If you've been following the drama brewing behind season 20 of Sister Wives, then you already know the internet practically cracked in half the moment ScreenRant allegedly leaked what fans are calling the Ledger of Lies. According to the outlet, an internal document tied to the Brown family show finances, one that was supposedly never meant to see daylight, has made its way into the public eye, and let's just say, it did not disappoint. Right there, nestled between mundane production expenses and tax filings, sits a single jaw-dropping line item, a mysterious withdrawal marked private disbursement totaling exactly $150,000. No explanation, no listed recipient, just that cold round number, gone. And if that wasn't enough to send fans into spreadsheet mode, here's the kicker. The date on that transaction lines up suspiciously close to when Robyn was photographed on what looked like a high-end shopping spree in Flagstaff, Arizona, multiple sightings, bags in hand, and a brand new gold pendant glittering under her neckline that hadn't been seen before.
Speaking off the cuff is not honesty. You think about the truth, you figure out the truth, you don't spit it out.
Now, no one's saying she swiped that money directly, but the timing, let's just say it's not doing her any favors. Especially considering that just a few episodes ago, Kody was ranting on camera about tightening belts and sacrificing together. Together, huh? Insiders whisper that the ledger came from a source inside the TLC post-production team, someone with access to the expense archive who allegedly grew uncomfortable watching what they described as glaring inconsistencies. According to the leak narrative making rounds on Reddit and Facebook, the document was sent anonymously to multiple outlets, but ScreenRant was the first to publish the key figures, minus, of course, any names that would directly violate non-disclosure agreements. That hasn't stopped fans from filling in the blanks, though. The redacted name linked to the withdrawal is blocked out with a digital gray bar, but just enough pixels peek through to show a capital R. Coincidence? Now viewers are turning full detective. They've zoomed in on watermarks, they've matched the font to TLC invoice templates, and they've even identified the printer serial number as one that appears in a behind-the-scenes special from 2 seasons ago. One fan on TikTok ran the PDF through contrast enhancement filters and claims you can actually see the shadow of a signature under the redaction, although we should be clear, there's been no official confirmation that any of this is real. But even so, the damage is already done.
Worried about too many relationships. Do the wives like me? Do they like Kody? Do they like him too much? Does he like me?
The word embezzlement started trending in niche fan forums within hours, with phrases like family funds fraud and brown bankgate popping up like mushrooms after a rainstorm. And here's the part that really stings. If this ledger is even halfway legitimate, it confirms what the ex-wives have been hinting at for years, that money from the shared family pot may have been diverted without consent, behind closed doors, and without so much as a group discussion. And that's when it got even messier, because the next suspicious entry in the document sends the trail directly to a name no one expected to see. Not Robyn, not even Kody, someone else entirely. Ready for that twist? Let's go deeper. The name tucked beside the next questionable entry in the alleged ledger? Christine. Yes, that Christine. The woman many fans have championed as the moral compass of the entire Brown saga. And while her name doesn't appear next to the suspicious $150,000 withdrawal, a separate deposit timed just 1 week prior is labeled with a 6-word memo that sent Reddit into total chaos. Advance, property settlement, Christine, unconfirmed, the amount, a cool $75,000. And while some argue it could have been a legitimate payout from the family estate or a slice of Coyote Pass, others are asking why it appears in the same ledger that TLC uses for production reimbursements and family stipends, not legal settlements. The format doesn't match any standard real estate transfer, and the listed payment source is marked as LLC-12, a code that has popped up in other flagged entries, all linked to Robyn and Kody's joint living expenses.
I didn't realize, such a weird and embarrassing thing to admit, but my life was just wrapped up in what Kody needed and what he wanted and what the family needed and wanted.
Now, before fans start painting Christine as a secret villain, it's important to note none of this is verified. There's been no comment from her reps, no court filings confirming a backdoor deal, and certainly no indication that she knew the money trail would connect back to her name. But that hasn't stopped speculation from turning into a storm. Some claim the deposit was actually meant to silence her. Hush money. if you believe the juicier Reddit threads meant to keep her from spilling certain behind-the-scenes truths during the filming of season 19. Others say it's more innocent, that it's simply part of the divorce payout Kody owed her all along, and that it's only appearing sketchy because Kody insisted on filtering it through a shell company to avoid direct scrutiny from the other wives. And that brings us to LLC 12. This mysterious corporate entity has shown up before in trademark filings tied to the Brown family brand, in property deeds for vehicles and trailers, and now it seems in the very spreadsheet that may be unraveling their entire financial web. What exactly is LLC 12, who owns it, and why is it acting as a go-between for what should be transparent family transactions? One TikTok legal analyst says the structure smells like a tax shelter gone rogue. Another theorizes that it may have been created with Robin as the sole signatory, allowing her to act as treasurer without officially being tied to the show's legal contracts. If that's true, then even legitimate payouts like Christine's divorce settlement could appear as part of the ledger's shadier transactions. That's where Janelle comes storming in.
It was like, even when he wasn't there, I'd be thinking, whenever he gets here, we're going to do this and this and this. Because he didn't just insert into my life.
Insiders say she wasn't just concerned when the ledger leak hit, she was livid. Rumor has it, she fired off 3 separate emails to Kody and the production team demanding clarification within 24 hours. One source claims she even requested a copy of every expense report dating back to 2020, a paper trail that could expose where every single dollar from the family pot really went. And as all this unfolds, Mary's social feed has gone radio silent, save for one haunting post, a blurry photo of a jigsaw puzzle missing its centerpiece, captioned only with the word, "exactly." So what happens when the ex-wives finally demand transparency and receipts? That showdown may be closer than anyone thought, because according to one leak, Kody wasn't ready to play defense. He went straight on the offensive and targeted Janelle first. If there's one thing Kody Brown has never handled well, it's being questioned, especially by a wife who's not afraid to match his energy. So when Janelle allegedly demanded a full accounting of the past 5 years' family spending, Kody didn't offer transparency, he delivered blame. Sources close to the situation say he snapped during a group call with TLC's legal liaison, accusing Janelle of being the reason their financial house is on fire. That phrase alone triggered a frenzy online, as fans who've watched Janelle pinch pennies for seasons couldn't believe Kody would turn the spotlight on the one woman who's probably sacrificed the most without complaint. But this wasn't just a private spat. According to a production insider who spoke anonymously to a YouTube recap channel, the call was recorded for season 20, and it got so heated that one of the producers had to step in to pause filming for the day. Kody reportedly claimed that Janelle's RV lifestyle, off-grid expenses, and her decision to fund her own kids' education without going through him threw off the entire family budget. What he failed to explain, however, is why so many of the largest cash outflows in the leaked ledger seem to trace back to household upgrades for Robin, not Janelle. And here's where things really get dicey.
He didn't just do whatever we were doing. We had to change what we were doing to accommodate him.
That same insider says Kody tried to reframe the $150,000 as an emergency family draw, a catch-all excuse he's allegedly used before to justify pulling lump sums from shared funds. But what emergency? What family? The context makes it even murkier when you realize that just days after the withdrawal, Robin was seen being dropped off at a high-end spa in Sedona. Not exactly a crisis, unless you count facial exfoliation as urgent care. Meanwhile, Janelle wasn't having it. According to someone who's worked with her on past legal matters, she's now consulting a financial forensic specialist to trace where the money actually went. That's no small move. It means she's not just looking for answers, she's preparing for war. And if she finds that even a fraction of her personal contributions were funneled into accounts controlled by Kody and Robin without her knowledge, there could be serious legal fallout. One source said, if that ledger holds up in court, Kody might be looking at more than just another divorce. He might be staring down restitution. And just when it felt like the financial fallout couldn't go any deeper, fans began pointing out another disturbing coincidence. Around the same time the ledger's private disbursement was logged, several of the Brown kids reportedly had birthdays, school payments, or vehicle issues that went unaddressed. One fan-run Facebook group claimed one of Janelle's sons was seen driving a car with a taped-up bumper just weeks after Kody was spotted at a local dealership, allegedly looking at a top-tier truck that retails for over $80,000. As always, nothing is confirmed, but the optics alone are enough to make you sick. That's when a new voice joined the financial chorus, one the public hadn't heard in months. Christine, seemingly done with the dignified silence route, dropped a passive-aggressive Instagram story that had fans gasping. A simple quote card that read, "Some debts can't be repaid in dollars." Was it about Kody? The timing couldn't be more suspicious. But as we'll see next, Christine wasn't the only one breaking her silence, because someone else was about to drop a clue that pulled fans straight into the heart of Robyn's spending secrets, and it started with a vehicle she never wanted you to notice. It started with a passing glance, just one blurry snapshot, taken by a fan outside of Flagstaff Whole Foods. But that single photo ignited a firestorm that still hasn't burned out. Parked quietly in the background, behind a row of modest SUVs, sat what appeared to be a brand new Cadillac Escalade in metallic pearl white. No license plate, temporary tags. And behind the wheel, a woman who looked suspiciously like Robyn Brown, sunglasses on, face turned down, gripping the steering wheel like she knew eyes were on her.
If he doesn't like me, will he just go to another wife? Whoa, Janelle said. Polygamy is why you're strong. And it's why you're going to be able to leave.
Fans didn't miss a beat. Within hours, the image was blown up, dissected, and side-by-side matched to earlier episodes that showed Robyn's older black minivan, sparking speculation that she'd recently upgraded. And not just upgraded, splurged. Retail value for the make and model fans identified? Over $105,000. And what made the timing so controversial is that it lined up almost exactly with the missing $150,000 in the leaked ledger. Suddenly, the phrase private disbursement didn't sound so mysterious anymore, especially not when paired with whispers from Flagstaff locals who claim they saw Robyn visiting the dealership more than once this past spring. One anonymous tipster, who says she works in the service department at a nearby luxury auto shop, claimed Robyn came in asking about maintenance packages, and even mentioned needing a second vehicle for long drives to Sedona. Now here's the kicker. That same week, TLC aired a Season 19 clip where Kody complained about the impossible cost of travel between homes and talked about selling off extra assets. "We can't afford to be flashy," he said, furrowing his brow at the camera. "That's just not who we are anymore." And yet, fans were staring at a six-figure SUV that nobody on screen had ever acknowledged. Comment sections exploded with reactions like, "Flashier than ever, who's paying for this?" and the now viral hashtag #EscaladeGate. Insiders close to production say Kody and Robyn never expected this storyline to go public. Allegedly, they believed the vehicle would be kept off camera and explained away as a lease under TLC's name. But now that the timing lines up with the ledger leak, even that excuse is starting to unravel. One Reddit user claims they ran a VIN check on a similar model seen in town and found it linked to an LLC with initials matching the Brown family's trademark entity. If that's true, and if the LLC is the same one listed in the ledger under LLC 12, then Robyn may have acquired the vehicle using funds earmarked for family expenses, or worse, production budgets. And what does that mean for the rest of the family? Janelle's allies are said to be furious, with one source claiming she confronted Robyn directly on set after seeing the car in the lot. "Is this what you needed the emergency funds for?" she allegedly snapped. "A car that costs more than Christine's whole first house?" Robyn reportedly walked off set in tears, and while some crew members chalked it up to stress, others say the tears weren't about guilt, they were about exposure. But exposure was just the beginning, because a few days later, something even more scandalous leaked online. A delivery receipt showing a second luxury item headed to Robyn's home, this time something even more extravagant than the Escalade. And when fans realized what it was, it sent social media into an absolute tailspin. The delivery in question didn't arrive in a plain cardboard box. It came in a crate, wooden, reinforced, and marked with a freight label from a boutique interior design firm based in Scottsdale. At first glance, it might have been mistaken for a piano, or maybe a designer dining table. But thanks to a neighbor's doorbell camera and a fan who happened to be walking her dog nearby, we now know exactly what was inside that oversized shipment: a custom-built, velvet-lined, European-style doll cabinet. Yes, a doll cabinet. One reportedly designed to house Robyn Brown's growing collection of heirloom-quality porcelain dolls, some of which, according to longtime fans, have been seen perched on shelves in background scenes since the family's Las Vegas days. The price tag on that cabinet alone, based on estimates from the vendor's online catalog and confirmed by an anonymous former client, somewhere in the ballpark of $25,000 to $30,000. And this wasn't a surprise gift or a TLC-sponsored prop. According to a leaked invoice making the rounds on fan-run Facebook groups, the purchase was made by an account listed under the same LLC linked to the Cadillac Escalade, and yep, you guessed it, the one referenced in the infamous ScreenRant ledger leak. The dates match, the vendor matches, and the delivery address, partially redacted in the screenshot, still clearly shows the street name associated with Robin's current residence. It didn't take long for Dollgate to go viral. Within 48 hours, Reddit threads had exploded with speculation about whether Robin had been quietly funneling money from the shared family fund into her increasingly elaborate home decor projects. And if that sounds like a stretch, consider this. Multiple fans have posted screenshots from earlier seasons showing the same doll collection tucked into modest IKEA shelves, hardly the kind of display that screams museum-grade cabinetry. Which begs the question, why now? Why upgrade that room of all things? Some insiders claim the cabinet was part of a larger home revitalization project Robin began in early spring, allegedly funded by what Kody described in an email as the equity redistribution plan. What that phrase actually means is still unclear, but fans believe it could be code for liquidating pieces of the family estate, possibly even shares in Coyote Pass. If true, it raises massive red flags about where that equity was redistributed to and why. And the timing couldn't be worse. Just days before the cabinet arrived, one of Janelle's kids allegedly had their utilities cut off in a shared rental property, a fact revealed during a private live stream Janelle hosted for her Patreon subscribers. Though she never named names, she did mention having to step in and cover something she shouldn't have had to. Viewers immediately connected the dots. The optics of a child struggling to keep the lights on while another wife invests tens of thousands in a luxury display case? Fans weren't having it. But it didn't stop there. A former crew member claimed in a since-deleted TikTok that the doll cabinet was delivered at the same time production had cut budgets for off-site interviews and location shoots, allegedly at the request of certain family members. And while TLC hasn't commented on budget changes, one anonymous producer reportedly texted a friend, "We're losing B-roll while the dolls get a castle." That friend? She posted the message, and it made headlines. Now with receipts stacking higher than Robin's collectibles, the next question became crystal clear. If she really dipped into the family fund to finance this lifestyle, who allowed it? Because the next paper trail doesn't just point to Robin, it allegedly implicates Kody directly in a way that's raising eyebrows with both fans and lawyers alike. The receipts, as fans would soon discover, weren't just circumstantial anymore, they were personal. And the name stamped at the bottom of one particularly damning document, Kody Brown. Not a blurry signature or some redacted hint, but his full name printed in bold on a notarized banking form tied to LLC 12.
Everything hurt. But we had children together, and Wyoming had been so beautiful. And my grandpa had joined us for all eternity in our wedding ceremony. Oh!
According to a digital image that surfaced on Reddit and was later circulated across multiple Facebook forums, Kody authorized a wire transfer of $82,000 to a private interior design contractor just 1 week before the doll cabinet landed in Robin's foyer. That money, based on the metadata in the leaked image, came directly from the family's joint business account, an account historically used for shared expenses like property tax, kids' healthcare, and in better times, vacation rentals. Now, is this document confirmed? Not officially. There's been no legal filing to authenticate it, and TLC hasn't acknowledged it publicly, but fans are already treating it like gospel. The watermark, the date, even the bank's routing numbers match previous documents shown on the series. And that wire transfer? It lands with brutal timing, considering just weeks before Janelle had allegedly begged Kody to help cover overdue tuition for one of their younger children. He told her the budget was tight. He told her they needed to be frugal. And then this. Even Robin's usual defenders are having a hard time explaining it away. One longtime viewer, who's consistently argued that Robin is unfairly vilified, admitted in a TikTok comment, "It's getting harder and harder to believe she's not at least complicit, because whether she's asking for these purchases or simply benefiting from them, the result is the same. Kody's signature seems to be the green light behind every extravagant acquisition, and that's where the speculation takes an even darker turn. Some fans believe Kody's name on these documents is no accident. Rather, they suggest it's part of a calculated effort to shield Robin legally. By making himself the official executor of the finances, Kody could be absorbing the liability for purchases Robin initiates, but without putting her name on the line. It's a strategy, they claim, that keeps her clean while allowing her lifestyle to balloon unchecked. And if you think that's too far-fetched, just ask any divorce attorney how often one spouse becomes the financial face while the other stays legally invisible. But what really stirred the pot was a voicemail clip allegedly shared with a blogger who's been covering the Browns for years. In the audio, never verified, but certainly compelling, a man sounding remarkably like Kody can be heard saying, "We'll make it look like it came from the business account. It'll all wash out once filming starts again." Those 11 words sent fans into a spiral. Was this the same business account Christine and Janelle helped fund? The same account Mary partially walked away from? If so, then we're no longer talking about just questionable spending, we're talking about potential misuse of shared marital assets for personal gain, possibly under the guise of production-related expenses. And here's the quiet part. No one wants to say out loud. If this trail continues, and if legal teams get involved, it could open Kody up to more than just a financial audit. It could reframe everything: custody arrangements, asset division, even future show contracts, because what started as a blurry spreadsheet is now looking a lot like a smoking gun. And one person may be holding a fresh match: Janelle, who insiders say has been sitting on a separate set of financial documents, ones that never made it into the TLC filing cabinets. But that's a whole new storm, and it's about to blow wide open. If the Coyote Pass saga felt like it had gone quiet, that silence just shattered, because in the middle of all this financial chaos, Janelle's next move wasn't a social media post, a vague interview, or even a tearful confessional. It was a legal document, quietly filed, expertly timed, and according to sources, devastating in its implications. Insiders say Janelle's attorney lodged a formal lien on Kody's share of the Coyote Pass property, citing unsettled personal contributions and missing joint equity. In plain terms, she wants her money back. And if that document holds up, Kody can't refinance, sell, or subdivide the land without first paying her what she's owed. This is no empty threat. Fans who followed the land plot filings in Flagstaff for years know that Janelle poured tens of thousands of her own dollars into the infrastructure at Coyote Pass. Septic designs, soil tests, legal consultations. She was the one living in an RV, for heaven's sake, freezing in winter, sweating through the summer, trying to make the shared dream of building something real. Meanwhile, Robin stayed in the fully furnished house, and Kody floated between his queen and his camera-ready talking points about equality. But now, equality is no longer the fantasy, it's the demand, and it's backed with hard numbers. According to one Reddit user who claims to have accessed the court docket, Janelle's legal team provided documentation for at least $78,000 in out-of-pocket contributions, none of which allegedly were reimbursed. That number alone would warrant action. But what pushed things over the edge, sources say, was the discovery of Kody's attempt to quiet title a portion of the land in his name alone. For those unfamiliar with the term, it's a legal process that helps one party remove any competing claims to a piece of property. It's rare in cooperative family land deals and borderline hostile in this context. That discovery, if true, reframes everything. Because if Kody was quietly moving to take full ownership of Coyote Pass, all while assuring the public and his wives that the land was still shared, then we're not talking about miscommunication. We're talking about manipulation. Fans online are calling it Coyote Pass coup, and the timeline aligns chillingly well with the missing $150,000 in the ledger. Could Kody have been trying to liquidate part of the property in secret? And if so, where would that money have gone? Some suspect it was tied to the Escalade, others think it was padding for future legal fees, anticipating the fallout he likely knew was coming. Either way, the optics are ugly, especially considering Christine already forfeited her share of Coyote Pass during their split, possibly under the assumption that she'd get her payout another way. If Janelle's lien holds up, she may become the only wife with an active legal claim to the property. And that gives her more leverage than Kody likely anticipated. But here's the twist. County records show that just days after the lien was filed, a second document was submitted by Robin. Redacted heavily, but titled Declaration of Homestead, the filing has legal analysts buzzing. Because if Robin is trying to claim a portion of Coyote Pass as her primary residence, despite never living there, that could set off a whole new level of legal warfare. And the timing? Suspiciously close to the end of TLC's production window for season 20. Which means if this explodes, it may just do so on camera. But behind the scenes, things were already falling apart, because word had gotten out that TLC executives were panicking, and not just about the drama, about what could happen to the whole show. For years, Sister Wives has thrived on tension, emotional breakdowns, awkward dinners, passive-aggressive interviews. But this was different. Behind the scenes, the network itself was reportedly bracing for impact. Sources close to TLC's production team say the string of financial leaks, legal filings, and suspicious spending patterns had triggered internal conversations about potential liability, not just for the cast, but for the show. Because if the accusations swirling online found their way into court, especially those suggesting misuse of shared income, undisclosed asset transfers, or undisclosed loans hidden through shell LLCs, TLC could find itself subpoenaed. And that is a risk no network executive wants to flirt with.
I think polygamy can cause a person to be too in her head.
According to a podcast host with alleged ties to the post-production crew, one producer reportedly said, "We're walking a legal tightrope. If one wife files suit and drags TLC into Discovery, this whole franchise could crack open." That alone set off alarm bells, because Discovery means emails, call sheets, internal texts, every behind-the-scenes detail could become fair game in court. And with Janelle's financial team allegedly requesting full records of payment schedules, filming reimbursements, and discretionary production costs, TLC might be facing exposure it never anticipated when the show began as a sweet little polygamist curiosity. Adding to the pressure, the anonymous leak of a supposed internal memo from the showrunner surfaced in late July. While the document's authenticity is still unverified, it outlined a moratorium on non-essential upgrades reimbursed through production, citing the increased risk of audit due to media scrutiny. Translation: no more paying for luxury decor, spa treatments, or rental equipment disguised as storyline props. And while no names were named, fans assumed one thing: Robin's budget had just been sliced in half. What's worse, the network wasn't just worried about legal fallout, they were losing control of the narrative. Every week, new details leaked before the episodes aired. A scene about budgeting would drop, only to be instantly undercut by fresh fan-sourced screenshots of Robin's new driveway tiles or the Escalade spotted at a local gas station. A production assistant allegedly confessed that even the editors were scrambling to reframe scenes mid-post to avoid backlash. "We can't have Robin crying about downsizing while she's walking past $10,000 worth of art," one insider quipped. Meanwhile, tensions within the crew itself were said to be at an all-time high. Multiple cameramen reportedly requested reassignment after being caught in the middle of real-time screaming matches between Kody and Janelle. One source even claimed that a seasoned line producer had to be pulled off set after breaking down in a parking lot during an especially volatile shoot. And this wasn't just interpersonal stress, it was creative chaos. The network's internal legal team had allegedly started red-flagging scenes that referenced money, demanding that editors cut or soften lines that might invite regulatory questions down the line. The ripple effects were everywhere. Storylines were being reshaped, scenes were reshot, and according to two separate fan accounts, even the next season teaser had been temporarily pulled from TLC's schedule board, allegedly due to concerns that one of the talking head interviews may have implicated the network itself in allowing financial misconduct. So what does a network do when its flagship family implodes in real time? According to one insider, they pray, and then they dig. Because in a last-ditch effort to regain control, TLC allegedly launched its own internal investigation, quietly hiring a third-party accounting firm to review cast payments and production reimbursements from the last 3 seasons. And that firm? They found something that made the $150,000 withdrawal look like pocket change, and fans are just beginning to realize how deep the hole might go. It started as fan obsession, a few amateur sleuths combing through screenshots and county filings, trying to piece together the chaos that had spilled into public view. But within a week, it had snowballed into something bigger. A grassroots forensic audit led by women in their 50s and 60s, many of whom had been watching Sister Wives since the pilot episode. They weren't just watching anymore, they were tracking. Using spreadsheets, photo timestamps, real estate registries, and even background shadows from episode screen caps, this viewer-led army began matching purchases to leaks, property movements to filming dates, and most crucially, bank statements to lifestyle shifts. One woman, a retired CPA from Utah named Marlene, quickly became a minor celebrity in fan groups after she shared a Google sheet titled, "Where Did the Money Go?" complete with color-coded tabs for every alleged suspicious transaction from seasons 17 through 19. It included what she called the Big Six purchases or payments, each over $75,000 that she claimed could not be explained by production reimbursements or cast salaries alone. And the grand total? Nearly $580,000. Gone. Unexplained. And in most cases, allegedly benefiting only one household, Kody and Robin's. According to Marlene and her spreadsheet crew, now dubbed the Sister Sleuths, the biggest red flag wasn't the Escalade or the doll cabinet. It was a 3-line entry in a leaked ledger labeled Home Structure Improvements Private, $215,000. No date, no attached vendor, just a dollar amount and a vague description. But when fans matched it to Flagstaff's permit database, they noticed something chilling. A contractor listed as Smith Ridge Holdings LLC had pulled a permit for substructure remodeling and private fencing on a property belonging to a relative of Robin's. And that remodeling job? Approved just days after a known TLC shoot at Coyote Pass was postponed due to unforeseen circumstances. So now fans had not just a paper trail, but a potential shell company. And speculation exploded. Was Smith Ridge Holdings just another name under the Brown family's growing list of LLCs? Was this how production funds or family funds were being quietly siphoned toward private assets without triggering suspicion? No one knows for sure, but Reddit threads detailing Robin's extended family's property holdings began circulating like wildfire. Photos of aerial views, tax histories, and corporate registries were posted by the hour. And with each new discovery, the missing $150,000 from the ScreenRant leak started to feel like a drop in the bucket. One former assistant who allegedly worked with TLC's accounting department during season 18 even hinted at an unspoken rule: never question Robin's reimbursements. They always cleared faster, she claimed in a voice memo posted to a locked Discord group. No matter how vague the receipt, the approval came back in under 48 hours. Everyone knew not to poke that bear. Meanwhile, Mary, often silent during these financial firestorms, posted a telling caption alongside a throwback photo of her inn. "Every dollar I poured into this place was mine," it read. Hard-earned, hard-kept. Fans took it as a veiled dig, especially since it came less than 24 hours after Marlene's spreadsheet hit the fan groups. But the most jaw-dropping moment came during a private live stream hosted by a former TLC field producer. In it, she claimed the internal audit had uncovered an unexplained $910,000 in undocumented cash flow spread across 3 seasons. Her voice trembled as she said it. It wasn't just one disbursement. It was a pattern, repeated, hidden in plain sight, and just like that, the conversation shifted from family scandal to something that looked a lot like organized concealment. One final bombshell remained, and it would put not just Kody but TLC itself under fire in a way no one was ready for. It wasn't a scene in an episode. It wasn't part of a confessional. It was a line buried in a dull gray court docket, the kind most people would scroll past without a second glance. But someone did catch it, and what they saw brought the entire Sister Wives financial drama to a new, almost unbelievable level.
I was probably more fixated on that man than, there's so much.
According to a filing submitted in Coconino County just 2 weeks ago, an attorney representing a former Sister Wives crew member formally requested access to all contractual agreements, tax records, and production reimbursement logs for the years spanning 2020 to 2023. The document didn't name names, but legal experts say the language points to one thing: a whistleblower. Now let's be very clear. TLC has not confirmed any internal complaint. No one from the production team has gone public. And as of this writing, no lawsuit has been filed. But according to several insiders, 2 former crew members, 1 assistant editor, and a reality TV consultant, the wheels are turning fast. If a former employee of the show is preparing to allege financial impropriety or even willful neglect of financial disclosure laws within a televised production, it could create a legal cascade, not just for the Browns, but for TLC as a whole. And here's where it gets even more twisted. The same document allegedly references irregularities in cast payment distribution and discretionary fund allocation. That legalese might sound boring, but what it really says is this: someone inside may be alleging that Kody or others were given financial access or production reimbursements that went beyond their agreed compensation, and those extras may have been used not for show-related purposes, but for personal luxuries. The Escalade, the doll cabinet, the home upgrades, all of it. Insiders now speculate that TLC's quiet third-party audit wasn't just about protecting the network from fan backlash, it was about getting ahead of this exact moment. A moment when someone with receipts could force the entire franchise under legal scrutiny. And if that happens, the Browns may not be able to hide behind confessional couches and dramatic music cuts. They may have to explain under oath where the money went. And through it all, Kody has remained publicly silent. No statements, no clarifications, not even a vague Instagram live. The man who once relished being the loudest voice in the room is now nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, Janelle is reportedly finalizing her next legal move. Christine has been quiet, but fans noticed she recently followed a high-profile forensic accountant on Instagram. And Mary? She's posted nothing but cryptic phrases and sunset photos, the digital equivalent of watching Rome burn from the balcony of a hotel she paid for herself. This isn't just reality TV anymore. It's real money, real consequences, and if even a fraction of what's been uncovered is true, Sister Wives may be remembered not for its story of plural marriage, but for the unraveling of a financial house of cards. A house some believe was built on the backs of 3 women, while another wife furnished it with doll cabinets and Cadillac SUVs. So now we turn to you. Do you think Kody and Robin knew exactly what they were doing all along? Or did TLC allow the chaos to spiral for the sake of ratings? And if a whistleblower truly steps forward, should the entire production be held accountable? Be sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more, because the next video on your screen is waiting, and trust me, you won't want to miss it.